There's a moment that catches a lot of families off guard. It's not the funeral, it's not the doctor's appointment, it's not even the conversation about assisted living. It's standing in the middle of a parent's house, realizing someone has to decide what happens next. And suddenly, the emotions hit from every direction. One sibling wants to sell immediately, another wants to keep the house forever. Someone thinks the home is worth way more than it is. Someone else is already exhausted from caregiving and just wants relief. Meanwhile, the house may need repairs. Bills are still coming in, legal paperwork may not be clear, and nobody feels emotionally prepared to make huge financial decisions while dealing with guilt, grief, pressure, and family dynamics all at once. I've seen this happen many times, and what most families discover is this: selling a parent's home is really just a real estate transaction. It's emotional, it's complicated, and if you don't prepare yourself properly, it can turn into months of stress, arguments, delays, and expensive mistakes. So in this video, I want to walk you through what adult children really need to know before selling a parent's home. We're going to talk about power of attorney, sibling conflicts, deferred maintenance, emotional pricing mistakes, probate and tax considerations, and how to make smart decisions without destroying family relationships in the process. Because the smoother this process goes, the more peace everyone has later. The biggest mistake families make is assuming they can figure it out later. Later usually becomes crisis mode. A fall happens, a hospitalization happens, memory issues get worse, assisted living suddenly becomes urgent, and now the family is trying to make the legal, financial, and emotional decisions under pressure. That's when mistakes happen. I've seen homes sit vacant for months because nobody had authority to sign documents. I've seen siblings stop speaking to each other over inherited furniture. I've seen families spend tens of thousands fixing up homes that never needed those repairs in the first place. And I've seen adult children emotionally price a home so high that it sat on the market for months, while carrying costs kept piling up. The earlier families start discussing the plan, the better the outcome usually is. Not because it removes emotion, but because it removes panic. One of the first things families need to understand is this: power of attorney does not automatically continue forever. A lot of people misunderstand this. If your parent is still living but unable to manage finances or decisions, a properly executed power of attorney may allow someone to handle the sale process. But if the parent passes away, the power of attorney ends immediately. At that point, authority usually shifts to the executor of the estate or through the probate court, depending on how the property is titled. And this is where families get blindsided. Someone says, but mom wanted me to handle everything. That may be true emotionally, but legally, paperwork matters. Before making plans to sell the home, families should understand who legally has authority, whether the home is in a trust, whether there's a transfer on death deed, whether probate is required, and whether all heirs must agree, because if legal authority is unclear, the sale can stall fast, and delays cost money. Property taxes continue, insurance continues, utilities continue, maintenance continues. Vacant homes also become high risk for water damage, theft, frozen pipes, lawn violations. So, getting legal clarity early matters far more than most families realize. This is one of the hardest parts of the process. Most siblings' conflicts are not actually about the house, they're about emotions. One child may have been the primary caregiver and feels resentful. Another may live out of state and feel excluded. One sibling may desperately need money. Another may want to preserve memories. And suddenly, every decision becomes emotionally loaded. Who gets what furniture? Who cleaned out the garage? Who paid for repairs? Who sacrificed more time? Who mom trusted most? I've seen loving families completely fracture during this process. And usually it happens because nobody established expectations early. One of the smartest things families can do is hold calm, honest conversations before the home hits the market. Talk through goals, expectations, timeline, repairs, pricing strategy, personal belongings, and communication responsibilities, because silence creates assumptions. and assumptions create conflict. Another major mistake is allowing one sibling to unofficially run everything without transparency. Even if intentions are good, secrecy creates distrust fast. Keep communication open, document decisions, stay organized. The goal is not just selling the house, the goal is getting through the process without permanently damaging family relationships. The house may need less work than you think. This surprises families all the time. Adult children often assume they must completely renovate the home before selling it. Sometimes they spend months and huge amounts of money trying to make the house perfect, but perfection rarely creates the return people expect, especially in older homes. Many buyers today are actually expecting older carpet, outdated kitchen, cosmetic wear, deferred updates, and depending on the market, investors or buyers may prefer to make updates themselves anyway. Now, obviously, some repairs matter: safety hazards, roof leaks, electrical concerns, plumbing issues, structural problems. But families often overspend emotionally instead of strategically. I've seen families spend $40,000 updating kitchens, $20,000 landscaping, $15,000 replacing perfectly functional items, only to barely increase the final sale price. Meanwhile, they lost months carrying the property. That's why getting honest guidance matters. Before pouring money into renovations, families should understand what repairs are truly necessary, what buyers actually care about, what the local market supports, and whether selling as is may make more sense. Sometimes speed, simplicity, and reduced stress are more valuable than squeezing every possible dollar out of the property, especially when caregivers are already emotionally exhausted. This is one of the most common mistakes I see. Families price the home based on emotional value instead of market value. And emotionally, I understand it. This was childhood home. This is where birthdays happened, Christmas mornings happened, family dinners happened. People attach memories to the property. But buyers don't buy memories. They buy condition, location, layout, updates, and price relative to competing homes. A home can be deeply meaningful to a family and still need significant updating in the market. Those are two separate realities. And when homes are overpriced emotionally, several things happen. The home sits, showing slow down, buyers assume something is wrong, price reductions start, stress increases, carrying costs continue. Eventually, many families end up selling for less than they could have if they priced correctly from the beginning. The market is brutally honest. It doesn't care about emotional attachment. That's why objective pricing matters. Not optimistic pricing, not sentimental pricing, not "dad thought it was worth this" pricing, accurate pricing. Because the first few weeks on the market are usually the most important. When a home becomes stale, momentum disappears fast. A lot of adult children underestimate this part completely. Cleaning out a parent's home can feel emotionally overwhelming. Every object tells a story. Old birthday cards, clothing, furniture, holiday decorations, photos in drawers. Suddenly, families are reliving decades of memories while also trying to make practical decisions. This is where people get stuck. Months go by because nobody can emotionally move forward. And honestly, that's normal. But families need structure. One helpful approach is using categories: keep, donate, gift, sell, discard, and set deadlines. Because if every item becomes an emotional debate, the process can drag on forever. Sometimes families need estate sale companies, junk removal help, senior move managers, clean out services, realtors experienced with senior transitions. There's no price for burning yourself out, and caregivers are often already exhausted physically and emotionally by this stage. Getting support is not weakness, it's efficiency. I'm not an attorney or CPA, so families should absolutely get professional, legal, and tax advice for their specific situation. But there are a few things people should at least be aware of. First, probate may be required depending on how the property is titled, whether there's a trust, state laws, estate planning documents. Some homes transfer smoothly. Others can take months before a sale is legally possible. Families are often shocked by how long probate delays can last if planning wasn't done ahead of time. Taxes can work very differently than people expect. Some heirs worry they'll automatically face massive taxes after inheriting a property. That's not always true. There are many stepped-up basis considerations that significantly affect taxable gain calculations, but every situation is different. The key point is this: do not rely on random internet advice from social media comments. Talk to qualified professionals clearly. A short conversation with an estate attorney, a CPA, financial advisor, or probate professional can prevent expensive mistakes later. This is another issue families underestimate. Once a home becomes vacant, problems start accelerating quickly. Small maintenance issues become larger ones. Insurance policy may change requirements for vacant properties. Deferred maintenance becomes more noticeable. And emotionally, vacant homes tend to feel heavier for families every month they sit untouched. Meanwhile, lawn care still matters, snow removal still matters, utilities still matter, security still matters. I've seen vacant homes develop mold, plumbing leaks, pest issues, break-ins, HVAC failures, all while families delay decisions because nobody wanted to deal with the situation. Time rarely improves vacant properties. Usually it increases stress and expense. I think a lot of adult children quietly carry guilt during this process. They feel pressure to make every sibling happy, honor every memory, maximize every dollar, avoid every mistake, and that's impossible. There is no perfectly clean emotional path through this transition. You're dealing with aging, loss, family dynamics, financial pressure, emotional exhaustion, and major life decisions all at once. That's a lot. And the goal should not be perfection. The goal should be making thoughtful, informed decisions while reducing unnecessary stress wherever possible. Sometimes the best financial decision is not the best emotional decision. Sometimes simplifying the process is worth more than maximizing profit. Every family is different. If you're helping a parent transition out of their home right now, here's what I want you to remember. Start conversations early. Get legal clarity early. Communicate openly with siblings. Don't over-renovate emotionally. Price realistically. Ask for help when needed. And understand this: the house is important, but protecting family relationships and reducing unnecessary stress matters too. Because years from now, most families will not remember the exact sale price, but they will remember how the process felt. They'll remember the arguments, the pressure, the exhaustion, or the teamwork and peace that came from handling things wisely. Transitions like this are hard. There's no way around that. But with the right guidance and preparation, they don't have to become chaos. And if your family is facing this situation right now, having experienced professionals around you can make a massive difference, not just financially, but emotionally too. Now, if this video helped you, hit the thumbs up and subscribe because I make videos specifically for families navigating aging parent decisions, housing transitions, downsizing, caregiving stress, and all the difficult real-world issues nobody prepares you for. And if you know someone struggling with this situation right now, send them this video. Thanks. I'll see you in the next video.